video, I will demonstrate how to utilize the Direct Product Ring buttons, buttons which inventory products or merchandise can be assigned to and used to quick sell those products at the point of sale. The Direct Product Ring buttons are assigned through the POS pad interface, so we'll begin by opening the System Configuration section on the tree menu and go to the POS pad layout. We can see in our list of tasks that there are 30 available Direct Product Ring buttons to assign products to. In fact, there are 30 buttons available per POS page. We can access those other pages at the top of our task list. We've already assigned 5 buttons on page 2, so we'll go there and assign a couple more. Notice that if we scroll our task list, we see all unassigned tasks in red at the top of the list, and assigned tasks are in black at the bottom. Here we can see the 5 buttons that are currently in use. Going back up to the top of our list, let's begin by moving one of our unassigned Direct Ring buttons to our pad to the right. You simply click to select your task and drag it over and drop it onto an unassigned button on the right. Notice when we scroll to the bottom that our task is now in with the other tasks on our pad. Once the task is on your pad, you can easily move it around by clicking and dragging, or you can swap it with other assigned buttons. And removing the button is as easy as clicking and dragging it back to our task list. Let's assign 2 Direct Ring buttons to our pad, and I'll show you how to set up the products that will be triggered to sell. You can assign any of the 30 buttons in any order to the pad. There are no rules about assigning number 1 first and so on. So with our 2 buttons out on our pad, we'll scroll to the bottom of the task list to work with them. For the Direct Product Ring buttons only, there are 4 additional columns available for setting the button text and the product code of the item you are assigning to the button. We can use the scroll bar at the bottom to see each of these columns. Notice that the new buttons we pulled out to the pad already have text, Direct Ring 20 and Direct Ring 21. If you do not put custom text into the 3 custom text columns of your button, then the default text will end up showing. And if you don't need all 3 columns to have text, simply put a space in the column you wish to be blank. This was done for our air fill above, which you can see the 3rd line on that button is blank, but it actually has a space. Now let's edit our 2 new Direct Ring buttons. I'm actually going to widen our task list by closing the tree menu to the left. To do that, you just need to click the left arrow at the bottom of the tree menu. This will keep me from having to scroll to get to each of our columns. I'm going to make the first button a nitrox fill. Remember, this button can have any product in your inventory assigned to it. I'm choosing a scuba item, but this will work for any industry. Our pet stores assign bulk rawhides, our grocery stores assign newspapers, really anything goes. So in my first text column, I'll put nitrox. I recommend you don't use all caps for your text. The buttons are relatively small, and caps tend to cause the words to overflow the button or get cut off. My second column, I'll put the word fill, and in my 3rd column, I'll put a space. You can see the button text changing once I tab off of the column. That leaves the last column, which is where you need to set the product code of your item. Let's reopen our tree menu by hovering over the far left of EncomPos. You can see the tree menu bar highlighted, which you simply click to reopen the menu. We'll go up to the inventory search, where you can see our nitrox fill that we are assigning to our Direct Product Ring button. Here we can see the product code, and right-clicking the item, we can choose to copy the product code from the Options menu. Now let's go back to the POS pad layout, and scrolling over to the Direct Ring field, we will use the Control button plus V to paste in the code we copied from our inventory search. Our final step is to use the Save icon in the toolbar to save our newly assigned button. We assigned 2 buttons to our pad, so let's go ahead and set up the second button. We'll do a nitrox fill card. And I'll type in the product code. And then we'll use the Save icon to save our button changes. One last thing before we check our buttons out at the POS. You can set the color for each of your buttons by clicking the color drop-down and selecting one of the many different color options. We'll go ahead and set ours to violet. Each of the button tasks can be color-coded for faster button recognition. Saving that change, we'll now open the point of sale and go check out our new buttons. Because we've made changes to the POS pad layout, if the POS was already open, you will need to close and relaunch the program for the new buttons to take effect. We did not have it open, so we'll use the point of sale link on the tree menu to launch it now. So we'll start by signing in, and then we'll go to page 2 where we assigned our buttons. There we see our 2 new buttons, which we simply click to sell the nitrox fill and the nitrox fill card to our ticket. And that's all there is to it. You can have up to 120 direct product ring buttons that you can assign any product in your inventory to for quick selling at the POS.